Now to the Reiner Report. Voters are being asked to approve funding for more mental health treatment beds in California.
Governor Gavin Newsom made the announcement on the final stop of his State of the State tour. ABC 10's Morgan Reiner covers all things politics, and she is here now to explain these are not traditional treatment beds.
Chris and Laura, no. Secretary of Health and Human Services Dr. Mark Alley said we can expect anything from campus-style settings to residential facilities.
Governor Gavin Newsom says the measure he wants to put before voters in 2024 will create 6,000 beds.
That would provide support for 10 to 12,000 individuals each and every year.
At a cost of somewhere between $3 and $5 billion.
People's lives can be changed. Forget the cynics out there that say this is too big, we'll never figure it out. We can't save all these folks. That's not true.
But who will pay to operate those beds? In 2004, voters approved a tax on millionaires known as the Mental Health Services Act to provide funding for county mental health services.
20 years later, it is time, and I say this as the author of the act, it is time to modernize the Mental Health Services Act.
Newsom's office says funding from this act accounts for 30% of the state's mental health services, but that there are constraints. For one, funds are not allowed to be used for housing needs or treating substance use disorders.
I think substance use disorders were left out for reasons that today we would say are all related to the stigma that existed.
Newsom wants voters to modernize the act and devote $1 billion every year from the tax to go to housing and substance use treatment.
These beds are desperately needed.
Michelle Cabrera is the director of the County Behavioral Health Directors of California. She is grateful for the governor's vision, but she just wants to make sure that the $1 billion to operate the new beds is in addition to, not instead of.
Expand investment in housing, expand investments in substance use disorders, and continue with the amazing programs and services that are currently supported under the Act.
The details are still being worked out, but Sacramento Mayor Darrell Steinberg addressed that concern, saying the money is growing. Millionaires continue to do well in California, so it doesn't have to be a choice between funding this or that.
The idea to get this on the ballot. So the question is, what comes next in the process?
Well, first, lawmakers have to figure out the details and pass the bills by a vote of two-thirds, because this is a constitutional amendment, and then it will have to go back to the voters for that final say.
2024 is what they're shooting for?
Exactly.
Okay, Morgan, thank you.